Okay, so we figured out that the last video was a little jacked up on the filming of it. It's okay. We're going to keep making it work. It's the McKay way. So we talked about these 3 different workouts, creating a completely different stimulus on the endocrine system. The endocrine system has to keep going and changing and being responsive to what we're asking it to. So to do that, we have to shake things up. Michael, question.
How often do you want to shake it up? How often do you need to change?
The more frequent, the better.
So like stick to a routine for 2 weeks and then switch?
Yes, yes. And here's the whole thing. What you should find out is, let's just say that you are going through a more hypertrophic phase, which would be the 4-set 8 reps. Here's what's going to happen is, let's just say you're squatting at this and you're squatting 300 pounds, okay? What you're going to find out is, before you finish that cycle of those 2 weeks, that's all of a sudden going to become 310. So you are changing the stimulus, but you're just giving it time to make it happen. Your body will get stronger if you ask it to. So listen to it and ask it. Ask the right questions, sit back, and let it give you the right answers. That's the beautiful part. And it is the endocrine system that is sending all of those chemical messengers. So come on down with me in that right-hand column on page 68. And that's when we actually talk about, you guys, this example in your book right here is this example that we just put on the board about how different workouts have different metabolic demands and create a different demand on the endocrine system. Now, when we talk about exact roles of hormones in the body, look at it right here, you guys. One of the main things is reproduction. We talked about you're here for 2 reasons. What are they? Be nice and procreate the species. So here we see that one of the roles that is huge when it comes to hormones is reproduction. We also talk about there's no place like homeostasis. We also talk about energy production, energy utilization, energy storage, and growth and development. So on your final show-off opportunity in this class, I'm going to ask you what some of the functions of hormones are in our body. And right there in those 2 sentences, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 options to choose from as it comes to those roles as they move forward. It's important. Think about this question. Could you really do anything at all if you couldn't do those 7 things? Nope. That's what it comes down to. That is the bottom end answer to it all. Because from the very beginning, when you were these 2 little cells that started to form the beautiful you, hormones were at play from the very beginning. That's how important it is. Okay, so jump over to page 68, and we start to see this word neuroendocrine immunology. So what is that? Nervous system and immune system. Now, here's what we know. We know that if the body becomes too catabolic, what does catabolic mean? Big to small. If the body becomes too catabolic, it is going to drastically suppress your immune system. So let's go with your athlete that's towards the end of the season. The athlete's been beaten up. They've been in the locker room. All of a sudden, everybody's tired. You got injuries rolling. One of your athletes happens to go grocery shopping. They touch the wrong buggy. Everyone, dun, 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 dun. Okay, and all of a sudden you get one sick teammate in the locker room amongst a team that is already towards the end of their season and beaten up. Your immune system is suppressed when the body is being in a catabolic, overly taxed state. So this is why it's so important that we start to see when our athletes are becoming catabolic And we need to prevent them from being what we call overreaching or overtrained. And we can see these things. Do you remember how we talked about the mind of the athlete and we start to see a mood change? When we see a mood change in the athlete, that is a huge red flag that that athlete is going catabolic on you. Which means you take an athlete that's getting messed up here, they become catabolic, and then they're at the quack shack because they're sick. Now listen, I just told you some scientific principles of some things that when you think about now, you're like, well, that's happened. That's what's going on in your body. That's why you see so many teams at the end of the season getting sick, because they've been riding the edge of potentially becoming catabolic, which is why we don't give rest and recovery near as much credit as we should. Okay, we talked about anabolic hormones, we talked about catabolic hormones. Those are in the left-hand column of page 69. So these are all terms you already know. You're good to go with this. I'm putting the pieces together for you. Now, one of the interesting things that happens with hormones is every single hormone that's released into your body, and if you need a refresher course, you can always turn to page 67 in your book. Every single one of these beautiful hormones have an exact receptor that makes them do their job. Now, our book gives the best analogy ever of this, and it's a specific theory called the lock and key theory. So turn over to page 70 with me. Ruben, you got your keys handy?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's talk about lock and key. Now, I should have brought mine, because what I'm going to bet is that Ruben's keychain is going to look different than my keychain. Yes or no?
Yeah.
Yes. Do you think that there's any two people in this room that their keys look exactly the same? Yes or no? No. Now, here's what I can say. He has a name tag on his. That's pretty smart. I should probably put a name tag on mine. That way, if they get lost, they can find it easier and wouldn't have to be an investigator. Okay? Now, I can tell here now that Ruben drives a Ford. I don't drive a Ford. I drive a Toyota. This goes to what? The dorm?
Mustang.
Your key to your Mustang?
No, Mustang Ranch.
Oh, I was like, you drive a Mustang. I was like, that's a cool key. So this is to be able to get in the gate. What's this a key to?
My house at home.
House key. What about this one?
My mailbox.
Mailbox. Okay, look. Wilson gloves and bats?
Yeah.
Okay, see,
that's like my glove that I play with.
It came, see? So, although you've got a flash drive, so you got a lot of love stored on this. And flashlight here.
It's a light.
So, and we got a lanyard for it, okay? And it's Nike, he likes Nike. So here's what we know. If we knew that every single one of these was a different hormone in your body, because remember, you have some going for reproduction, you have some for energy, you have some for utilization, you have some for storage, you have some for all of these different functions in our body. Every single one of these keys has a different function. Guess what? This key to his front door is not going to start the key to his car. This key to Mustang is not going to all of a sudden help with reproduction. Every single one of these keys would be a different hormone. And just as each one of these specific keys has an exact lock that it will come into and open, that's how hormones are. Now, the interesting thing about this, and this is a perfect analogy, so you have to have this key to get into Mustang Ranch, correct? You have to have this key to get into your front door. So are these two keys dependent on each other? Yes, that's how hormones are as well. Thank you. Y'all give Ruben a hand for letting me use his keys. It's a perfect analogy. Okay, perfect.